One of those mornings where the honeysuckle just punches you in the face. I so wish I had smell-o-vision so I could share it with you guys. But this has probably been our best year with our honeysuckle ever. And it used to be twice this size. But last winter, a big windstorm came through and knocked half of it down. So we cut it all back, and it looked really sad at the beginning of the season. But it has just turned into this glorious waterfall of blossoms. I do harvest them from time to time to make cheese, but I've never made honeysuckle jelly. So if you guys have any great recipes for harvesting honeysuckle and making things with it, leave it in the comments below. I'm sure I'm not the only one with tons of honeysuckle on property to make something with. But today I gotta go do chores, feed the animals, and we are gonna go out to the garden and do a big harvest together. So I can't wait to share with you what's ready to pull in. All right, come on in. Oh, as you can see, my honeysuckle is all in bloom out here in the garden too. I'm so glad I chose to do that, and it's working its way up this baling twine that I've put in as a trellis. Super happy with it. But let me just take you around and show you how some things are growing, and then we'll get to harvesting. So I had to, you guys are shading me, or the tree's shading me, I can't tell. Always that morning sunlight. Sometimes it's pretty and sometimes it gets in the way. So right now a tree branch is casting a shadow. But look at my tomatoes, guys. Absolutely crazy. I had to actually go back, hold on, let me pull it up. Go back and look to see when I posted the video. So May 17th, the video published, so I would have transplanted these the 15th or 16th. We're usually a couple days behind on video publishing. And they were, easily 6 inches below the beginnings of the trellis, and the trellis starts 18 inches high. So they are just growing like gangbusters. This is one of my cherry tomatoes. As you can see, we've already added another tomato clip here. Those beginnings of beautiful tomatoes growing all over. So I think it's going to be a tremendous tomato year. I want to show you something though that I observed that I'm not quite sure how I did it. It wasn't on purpose. So hopefully this shows up. I still don't know what all my tomato varieties are. Whatever this one's going to be, he's got his first fruits setting. and they're going to grow in bunches. So I'm assuming he's going to be a Boxcar Willie. I'm not quite sure. That's a variety that I'm growing that is kind of all-purpose tomato. But look at this. This is a single tomato plant. So here's his main stem, and he branches off into 2 leader plants. And I tell you what, I pull off suckers every single day, twice a day, and they're like little miracle things. Anyway, out of my 30 tomato plants, I believe I counted yesterday, I have 23 that I have inadvertently, but happily, I don't know what I'm going to do with all the tomatoes, but I have managed to double stem. I think that's what, I don't know the technical term, but it's like a deliberate pruning technique, aka deliberate pruning technique. So you get 2 main leaders, basically 2 fruiting branches. I did not do this on purpose, guys. I did not. But somehow, I know once I noticed it a couple weeks ago that this was accidentally naturally occurring on a large majority of my plants. I was making sure to just keep it to 2 stems. So if I missed a sucker here or there, I would pull it off. But crazy. I mean, isn't this just the most glorious tomato plant you ever saw? Just absolutely stunning. So if this is 18 inches, oh, geez, I don't know how to count. I think these are like 4-inch, 18, 22, 26, another 6, 32, 38 inches tall already. Crazy. Hopefully I did that math correct on camera. But I'm really happy with just how all my tomatoes are growing. I'm just so very, very pleased. Absolutely stunning. And first fruits on almost every single plant. So, sorry the lighting's so bad, but it is still morning. I'm going to sacrifice one because I want to show you this blossom. And I'm guessing maybe it's the Kellogg's because I've never had a blossom like this on a tomato before, and they look like dandelions. Look at that blossom. Absolutely huge they are. It almost looks like a double blossom. But they are absolutely, oh, please show up. Please be nice, camera lighting. Isn't that stunning? So I really hope that these are my future Kellogg's. If so, I know where I see them all throughout the garden, and I'm like, yes. But I see one that I do need to give some additional support, so let's do that real quick. Well, my little patch of corn is supposed to be knee-high by 4th of July. Here's my knee. I'm sure it's on a 6-foot-tall man, though. But I think we'll make it. It's doing really, really well. I've got another patch of corn in the opposite corner. Now, thank heavens the onions have finally started taking off. It took them quite some time to get going. But yeah, they're really starting to take off now. Still questionable whether I'll have long enough growing season left. But they got their first real good fertilizing last weekend. And so we'll see how they go. Well, this has got to be the happiest little bed in my garden. Tons of carrots, bush beans, my Dixondale onions that survived. They're really bulbing up nicely. But we are headed actually right back there to the garlic patch to harvest our garlic scapes. So you harvest your garlic scapes, which are the center stalk that comes out, has the flower tip on the end, so that for the next 2-3 weeks before the garlic is officially done growing, it would stop putting energy into the bulb, growing a big bulb, and it would start putting all of its energy into growing this flower head to survive. So we don't want that, and these are absolutely phenomenally delicious to just eat as is, sauteed, grilled. We always keep some just fresh, whole as is, like this, and I will just throw these, well, not this one because it got funky, but any that are nice and clean and crisp, I just throw in a freezer bag and freeze them as is for using naturally, and then the rest we turn into pesto. Garlic scape pesto is an absolute favorite. And I will tell you, one of my favorite ways to use it is mixing it with my homemade mayonnaise to make our garlic pesto mayonnaise for like paninis and things like that. But it's fun too. It's a great way to count your garlic. If you forgot how many you planted last year, just count all your scapes and you'll know how many garlic bulbs you're going to have. So I always play a game with myself and try to pull out the entire scape. Like here's an example where you can see it's white. I got it all the way out. That is so tricky. They typically just break right off. A few of them weren't, oh, there's another one, came right out. A few of them weren't quite ready, so I always look for when they're actually curled under. So when they actually have curled under, that's when I pull them. A lot of them are still just coming out, so I'll let them get a little bit bigger before I harvest them. And every now and then you miss one. And it's okay if you do. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just not going to, it's just robbing energy from your garlic bulbs. All right. Well, how about that? I think I left about, that's an entire half bushel basket full. I think I left probably a half dozen or so to keep growing. And then it'll be fun because I won't have any frozen then, and if we just want to use them fresh, I'll come out and pick one out of the garden. But everything is going splendidly. A lot of you have asked if I noticed if the beneficial nematodes made a difference, and I thought at first yes, but now I'm not certain. Because right down here, as you can see, I'm still getting pest pressure on my beans, and guys, I don't know what it is. I've never seen anything on them. I don't see any aphids. I don't see any flea beetles, no cucumber beetles, no potato beetles, no nothing. So I don't know what's doing it. So it's odd. They must be tiny, tiny microscopic. Like there's no worms, nothing, no eggs. So just weird. I mean, it's not doing, I don't think it's going to damage it enough that my crop is going to be influenced in any way, but just weird. But I do see I have my first zucchini. Can you guys believe that? Second week of June. I've never had a zucchini this early, but let's go harvest that zucchini and you guys can take a peek at how the straw bales are going. Doesn't everything look great? The peppers are all doing great. The squashes. I got my first supermoon pumpkins coming on, and the pumpkin vines are getting ready to trellis down. The first patty pan squash is on there. So yeah, it's looking really good. I just actually saw my first yellow crookneck squash too, but I had quite a few naysayers on my Maximize Your Pepper Harvest video where I was showing you, besides topping, what can you do to prune your peppers to get a larger yield. And either people had their ears closed or whatever, I don't know. Anyway, I want to show you the results from that pepper pruning. So let me bring you guys down here close and show you what you could expect if you want to try it. Got you guys precariously set up here. So hopefully this works. Okay, so we have a fruiting branch here, a whole nother fruiting branch over here that's grown out, a fruiting branch way down here that has grown out, and a fruiting branch right here that is growing out. I maybe will get another start right here, but let me show you one that's not as far along as this one. Every pepper plant's gonna react differently to the pruning technique. So this is one that's just starting to come out. So his little branches are just now coming out. You want to do this very early in the season, so you still have plenty of season for the plant to respond. But he has one main fruiting branch right now, and the rest of these will become additional fruiting branches. Okay, so here I've got a nice pepper plant, and we've got a main fruiting branch here, another one coming off here at a leaf node, another one coming off down here, one over here, another one over here with a side leaf node going off one way down here, and now a new one starting down here. So, oh, even a new one over here. So none of these little leaf node shoots would have come off. They might have grown a little bit, but not produced a whole nother fruiting branch had I not pruned them. So this is just a great example of what a large, bushy pepper plant you can create. And we are still early in the season. Just hang on, stick around, come back at the end of the season when I'm doing my pepper harvest, and you will see how nice and full and lush these plants get. I actually need some basil for my pesto, so I'm just going to harvest a little bit of basil. So thanks guys for coming out in the garden with me today. I'm just pulling in some lettuce before the heat of the day. We are going to Todd's mom's. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Going to Todd's mom's for celebrating her birthday. And we are cooking up some ribs right now and homegrown potato salad to take. And it'll be a nice day. So happy growing and gardening where you are, and I wish you the best.